2.5 years ago, I had zero tech experience, but now I'm making over 6 figures as a tech project manager. This is gonna be the complete workshop on how I got here, and you guys are gonna be leaving this video with all of these things that are gonna make up your foolproof job search toolkit. So it's gonna include things like your tech resume, how to access the hidden job market, specific messages you should be writing to recruiters, my interview cheat code, and so much more. And we're gonna collect all of these tools as we're going through my process step by step. So get your notebooks out, it's gonna be a workshop. For some background, I graduated with a degree in international development and globalization. Nothing to do with tech, it's actually a mix of politics and economics. And then I started my career working in foreign affairs for the Canadian government. But I had to move to the US and I faced 2 problems. 1, I had no corporate or tech experience. And 2, I had no US work experience at all. So what did I do? I reworded everything on my resume. All the non-tech language, I turned into tech language. And pro tip, a really easy way of doing this is just by using this prompt in ChatGPT and it'll do it all for you.
What do you mean I don't need to go out and get tech experience? I can just reword the experience that's already on my resume?
Yes, and I'm gonna show you an example from my own resume. Exact same task, just written 2 different ways. So as a tech PM, you're gonna be managing so many different teams, from scrum masters to developers to the business. So if you look at the wording, leading cross-functional projects and collaboration with stakeholders, they all position myself as being the ideal tech PM. Versus the before is super niche to government. Tech has no place for diplomatic communications and international policy initiatives. So again, same task, but just 2 different ways of positioning yourself. So this is gonna give you your first tool in your toolkit, which is your tech resume. But pro tip, this shouldn't be the last time you tailor your resume. Before you submit your application, use this prompt in ChatGPT to make sure you're optimizing your resume to that specific job posting. This is gonna make sure that you have all the right keywords and terms to position you as the ideal candidate for the position on your resume. At this point, you might be wondering,
okay, but how do I know which tech role is gonna fit my experience the best?
Choosing the correct tech role based on your experience is gonna determine your success. Point blank period. And get ready, here's another tool for your toolkit. So the way I did this is I looked at my experience and I manage international development projects. Cool, I can do that, but just on a company level with tech projects. Simple. Or in those international development projects, I manage stakeholders, I did reporting out on the project's progress. I can do those exact same things with tech projects as a tech PM. So it was super clear for me. The exact same thing for different backgrounds. For example, if you're from a teaching and education background, you might want to look into L&D specialist or an instructional designer. Or if you're from a financing accounting background, you might want to look into fintech or being a risk analyst. Marketing and communication, a UX writer would be an amazing role for you. And there's so many more, but the key is to identify what you already do and match it to a tech role that values those skills. Step number 3 is taking the contract roles. And here's what nobody tells you, contract roles are the fastest way to get into tech. The hiring moves so quickly because not a lot of people know about these roles. You might be thinking a company isn't hiring or the market is bad, but almost always they're hiring for contract positions because they come out of a completely separate budget. And also there's a really high chance that you'll just get converted into permanent. That's exactly what happened to me after a 1.5 years of being in my tech contract role. Here's a list of the best agencies that I found for contract roles. And pro tip, make sure you have the conversation about conversion really early on. I had my conversation about conversion literally right in the interview, and they were so supportive throughout my entire duration of the contract, and they obviously ended up converting me. So it's really, really helpful that they know your goals so they can help you achieve it. And step number 4, the hidden job market. Most people don't realize that some of the best jobs are never posted. The hidden job market is a real thing, y'all. I think we all know by now that the days of applying to a job posting and just moving on with your life are over. So there's 4 main tiers of the hidden job market: employee referrals, recruiter outreach, Facebook and LinkedIn groups, and networking events. I need y'all to really lock in on the first 2 because this is where you're gonna get the most value out of. So when you find a job that you wanna apply to, you're gonna find the recruiter and an employee at the company, and you're gonna send this message to the recruiter and this message to the employee at the company. So for the recruiter route, this is immediately gonna take your resume out of a pile that's been collecting dust and being seen by the eyes of a hiring manager. You skip so many people ahead of you, and you also build a relationship with the recruiter who can refer you to other roles that they're hiring for. For example, one recruiter that I had reached out to actually told me that they're hiring for a couple different jobs that are gonna be posted in the next few days that might be a better fit for me because they required more experience. Now for the employee route, when you get an employee referral, what this means is that your application is gonna be immediately jumped closer to the front because someone at the company is vouching for you. And these employees actually get a bonus sometimes if you're hired, so don't feel like you're doing a burden on them because it benefits them and you. And also another perk of this is that you're building your network, which is step 5. Send those LinkedIn connections, join the Facebook and LinkedIn groups, and attend those events. Remember those last 2 tiers from the hidden job market in the last step? this is where they come into play. When I first started my job search, I had about 100 LinkedIn connections, but now I have over 500, and I've had countless 15-minute intro conversations with so many people in the field through LinkedIn, because I knew that all it takes is the right person with the right opportunity at the right time. These people are going to keep you in mind next time a position at their company opens up, and you're going to have leverage over everyone else that applied. Basically, the goal is making yourself be a recognizable name in the industry. So when you're talking to one person and you ask them to introduce you to someone that they know, and then they're both talking about how impressive you are, that's when you're winning. Y'all, I was 21 years old having coffee chats with the Consul General for a Canadian consulate, which is kind of like a Canadian embassy. Having these kind of people in your network is so valuable. And step number 6, certification. So the thing about taking a non-traditional career path is that you're competing with people who might have way more education than you or way more experience than you. So let's level the playing field. And no, this doesn't mean take all the certifications you possibly can in a day. We need to be focused on what can produce quick and effective results. So you want to pick the top 1 or 2 certifications that you want to actively complete. For example, the top 2 for a tech PM would be getting your CSM and PMP. And pro tip, the minute you start on these certifications, go ahead and put them on your resume, because a lot of resume scanners will actually filter out your resume if you don't have the correct keywords. Personally, I will always just put like a bracket in progress on my resume, and I've never had an issue with it. And here's top 2 certifications for a couple different tech roles. Not to brag, but every single job I've interviewed for, I've gotten. I literally have the exact cheat code figured out for job interviews, and it's foolproof. So it's number 1, your personal mission statement. Number 2, your connection to the company. And number 3, your questions. So let's break it down. Every single job that you interview for is going to ask you an intro question like,
so tell me a little bit about yourself.
And to answer this, you're going to have your personal mission statement memorized. And in this statement, you're going to, number 1, tie your passion to the role. And number 2, you're going to take words directly from the job description to highlight why you're the perfect fit for this role. And the person on the other end listening to you is literally going to be mentally checking off tick boxes. So I'm going to share mine with you. I have it on my laptop because it's been a while since I did this, but this is how I usually start off. So I've always been the type of person that loves a challenge, and the challenge of achieving social change locally and globally has driven my career. I've had the most successes in my career directly in creating meaningful social impacts through my innovative ideas to projects, which underscores my reason for being so passionate about this role and company, because it's so aligned. I can really come in and add value to the role because the public sector is experiencing operational and internal challenges, and the need for transformation and becoming agile is more important than ever. I'm not going to read the rest because I go in further into the job description. You get the gist of how I started off. Then the actual interview begins, and they're going to start asking you questions, and you're going to have a list of notes beside you with company information. It's going to include things like projects that the company is working on in the space that you're interviewing for, company work style, company values, and it's also going to include different company initiatives like learning programs or diversity programs. So as you're answering their questions, you're weaving bits of this company information into your answers. It's going to look like you've done so much research about this company and you're so knowledgeable about this role. And finally, you get to the end of the interview and they're going to ask you,
so what questions do you have for us?
You're not going to stay silent. You're going to ask the most impressive, thought out questions. Here's a list of those, and what this does is it shifts the pressure off of you and puts it onto them. Now they're in the hot seat, and once again, you've impressed them for a 3rd time. All right, y'all, that's the full blueprint of getting into tech without tech experience. I gave you the full toolkit and all the steps that you need to take. Trust me, the sooner you start, the sooner you're going to break into tech. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and also drop a comment on which tech role you're targeting. I would love to know your goals and see if I can help out in any way. See you in the next video. Bye.